Hello everyone. As part of SAP HANA e-learning, today I'm going to tell you about what are the main features about SAP HANA. As we all know, HANA stands for High Performance Analytical Appliance. HANA is also nothing but a database, as we have existing databases in the market, but it has some features which others doesn't have. So in one sentence, we can say HANA is an in-memory database which supports for real-time and columnar storage, and it also has a web server, inbuilt web server. So HANA is going to be in-memory, columnar or real-time database. So we'll see what are the main features of SAP HANA. So we can say we have around 6 or 7 main features about SAP HANA. So always when you use HANA, it's going to be a 2-layer architecture instead of 3-layer architecture when we use any traditional database to build a data warehousing solution. And it also supports for columnar storage as well as row storage, which other databases supports. And as we have columnar storage capability in SAP HANA, we'll get a lot of data compression. Okay. And the fourth one is it supports for real-time replication, real-time data replication from any source to SAP HANA, which is what clients are looking for right now in the market. And the third one is we are not going to have any data redundancy in SAP HANA. That means whatever the models you are going to create, which are going to be exposed to reporting clients, all are views. That means you will have a center point of data in your tables, and whatever the models you are going to build on top of those tables are all going to be views, so that you can save lot of your DB space, as well as you are not going to have any data redundancy in your system. And the last one is it has inbuilt web server, which is very light application and can be used to easily expose your organization data to web applications. And you can also build a web applications in SAP HANA using SAP HANA developer perspective. We'll see about these things in later videos. So what is a 2-layer in-memory architecture DB? So this specific diagram explains what is going to be the landscape when we use a traditional database for your data warehousing solution and when we use SAP HANA for your data warehousing application or data warehousing solution. So usually in any data warehousing solution, you will have presentation layer from where users are going to analyze the data exist in data warehousing solution, and you will have application layer. Say if you are using SAP BW, then BW is going to be application layer. So which is going to be interaction or interface between your a presentation layer and a database layer. And you will have database layer. Database layer is nothing but a database where you are going to store all your data warehousing data. So what happens with this 3-layer architecture? When an user runs a specific query to analyze data from presentation layer, then that particular query will come to application layer where you will have your servers installed. Why we want servers in application layer? Because your database layer cannot perform any calculations or it cannot perform any operations. When we say traditional database, it's just going to be a disk which can be used to write the data or to read the data. Okay. So then your application layer will pick the data from DB layer, then perform the calculations and then give the result data set to presentation layer, which will take a time to process a single query. And it also depends on the size of data you have, because when the size of data increases, it will take lot of time to pass between your application layer and DB layer, and then to pass between your application layer and presentation layer. Whereas when it comes to SAP HANA, you are not going to have any application layer because your database is in memory. That means now your database can perform any calculations, or it can perform any operations. It can perform all operations also. So presentation layer is going to be any reporting tool, and then your database layer is going to be your HANA database. So apart from HANA database, you will also have HANA Studio, which can be used as a modeling tool to do all your modeling or to perform any administration activities as well on your HANA database. So that is going to be difference between how a landscape will become two-layer landscape when you use HANA for your data warehousing solution or for your any application. Then what is the advantage with columnar storage? We all know, like, when a data stored as in row storage format, it will database will store entire record as a tuple in a database. So when we say tuple, together that particular row will be called as a tuple. But when you store data in columnar format, data will be stored as a columns. So fields or data related to one column will be stored together, and then the second column, and then so on. So in this particular diagram, we can see the differences between the data stored by a row storage and the data organized by columnar storage. So if you look at the data organized by row storage, you can see like entire record, see A10 euro is one tuple, so which is nothing but one record, then B35 dollar, then C2 euro. So this is how a data stores if table is a row storage type. If it is columnar storage type, you can see entire column 1 value stored together, A, B, C, D, E, then column 2 values, then column 3 values. So this is the basic difference between row storage format and columnar storage format. So now, what is the advantage as a customer they will get if database supports for columnar storage? When we look at any analytics performed on a data warehousing solution, it's always going to be on columns. It will not be on rows. Let's take a sales orders information. See, always customer will look for a revenue generated by a product group wise, or sales organization wise, or sales division wise, or maybe a particular year wise or particular quarter wise. Everything is going to be columns. No customer, or anyone will not look for an analytics. What is the revenue generated by this particular sales order? Because it doesn't give any business value, or it doesn't give any sense to the customer. That means whatever the analytics you perform is going to be on columnar basis, but still you are storing data in row storage format. So that is where columnar storage format will be very helpful to the client. A reporting time is going to be seconds, or I can say it will be below seconds. I can say it's going to be milliseconds. Okay. So that is the main advantage of columnar storage. And the other advantage is, because of columnar storage, as you are going to store entire column values together, you will get a very good compression ratio, because when you store entire column data together, system only stores distinct values, or it stores only unique values. See, now if we look at here, let's take a third column where we have 5 records in this particular table, but only 2 unique values. That means when you store data in columnar format, it stores only distinct values. Because of database is storing distinct values, you will get a very good compression ratio. I'll show you how the compression ratio. That means the database size required to store same amount of data will be very less if your database is supporting columnar storage. I'll show you how it look. Why it will take a less amount of data. or a less amount of space. So if I open HANA Studio here, I'll open one table and show you how much size it will take in traditional database and how much size it will take in memory. I mean nothing but HANA. Say, I want to look at billing documents information of my sales orders. So here, if I go to runtime information, this is where I can see. See, in in the first value, it shows like how much memory it has consumed in memory. I mean in HANA database. So it has took around 2 MB of data to store 34K records. Whereas if you want to store same kind of data in your traditional database which supports for row storage, it will take around 4.7 MB of data. So I mean here we are just talking about 34K records. Let's assume if you have millions of records in your organization, I mean in your tables. So it will save lot of your DB size. So that is the difference between row store and column storage, and what is the advantages of columnar storage. Then comes real-time replication. So as we all know, HANA supports for a real-time replication from any source. The tool that we are going to use for a real-time replication is SLT, SAP Landscape Transformation, which is an application from SAP and can be used to do a real-time replication from any source to SAP HANA. So you can use, even your source can be SAP or your source can be non-SAP also. Okay. Then comes, I mean, see, when we look at any traditional database, data warehouse, the first problem we'll face is we are going to have a lot of data redundancy because of the limitations of traditional database. As you know, you cannot show detail level data to the customer. We'll always aggregate the data and we'll load it to InfoCube. Then we'll build reports on InfoCubes. Why we are creating reports on InfoCubes? Because if you create reports on DSOs which will have detailed level data, then query execution will be hours instead of minutes. So that is the main reason we'll aggregate the data before we expose that to presentation layer. As HANA supports for, as it is in-memory database and it supports for columnar storage, you no need to build any aggregates here. Of course, you cannot build any aggregates. So whatever the models you are going to build, all are going to be views which can be exposed to your reporting clients. So there are no data redundancy and there is no material aggregates in SAP HANA. Then the next one is web server. So we have a component called Access Engine, which will work as a web server in SAP HANA database. So you can use Access Engine to expose a data present in HANA database to web applications. Okay. So Access is also called as extra small because the web server that SAP has built in HANA is very a light web server. So you no need to maintain a third-party web server to expose your data to web applications. And also you can build your own web applications in HANA DB itself using server-side JavaScript language. So this is all about the main features of SAP HANA. Thank you for watching video.